Thank you, Madam Speaker. It is worth considering the Premier's assault on free and fair elections over the last 3 years in Manitoba. The Premier, as the NDP did before, changed election financing. In this case, they cut off public support for parties based on votes, while his own party continued to rake in over $1 million in what he himself called kickbacks. His words, not mine. The Premier jacked up the donation limit to $5,000, has increased tax breaks for donors, and has changed ID requirements to make it harder for people to vote. There is a fixed election date law in this province, Madam Speaker, and there is a law that limits pre-election spending. If the Premier is really so confident he can win an election, why is he working so hard to rig the game?
The Honourable First Minister.
Well, Madam Speaker, the member has written on this topic and criticized us for taking the subsidy he now defends. So he's got to get his facts straight, or maybe just change his mind on this issue. I'm not sure which. He has decried the presence of this subsidy and criticized me personally for accepting it. Yet today he says it's a great idea. So I'd like him to maybe clarify in his second preamble where he's at on this issue. Does he want the NDP to get triple the subsidy that his party gets? And does he want to get 10 times as much as the Green Party? Because that's what this subsidy does.
You're here. The Honourable Leader of the Second Opposition on a supplementary question.
Well, in the article the Premier refers to, I was just pointing out his hypocrisy, Madam Speaker. It's worth recalling why Manitoba and Canada have introduced fixed election dates. It is because leaving the timing of an election call in the hands of an incumbent party was considered unfair. Having fixed election dates makes elections more competitive because all parties are able to fundraise and recruit candidates knowing that an election will be called at a specific time. Manitoba's fixed election date are the first Tuesday in October and the third Tuesday in April. And now I know the Premier loves a good loophole, but if the Premier calls an election this spring or summer, can he explain how he is not breaking the fixed date election law?
The Honourable First Minister.
Again, I didn't hear an explanation in this preamble, Madam Speaker. He used to be against the subsidy that he's now for, and he didn't offer any explanation as to why. I get a sense he might like to continue with the existing program because in the last election, the Liberals got $351,727 as an assist to them on their advertising. And the Green Party, which apparently the Liberals are now competing with, in part thanks to their conduct in Ottawa, which the member supports, got $11,421. That would be about a 30th, a little bit less than a 30th as much as the Green Party got. So the Green Party doesn't get anything out of this deal, but the Liberals do. Maybe that's why. Maybe the member can explain in this preamble if that's why he's supporting continuing with the status quo that he used to oppose.
The Honourable Leader of the Second Opposition on a final supplementary.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Another aspect of the fixed date election law is that it limited government advertising in the lead up to a campaign. I recall in 2007, the NDP government of Gary Doer spent weeks making expensive promises and running ads, and then Doer called an election in 2007 only hours after a major announcement. And there's supposed to be a blackout on announcements as well. These two are all part of the law. So is the Premier intent on breaking the rules and calling an election this year at the risk of losing many of his caucus members and possibly government because he knows that if he follows the rules, he'll lose?
The Honourable First Minister.
Well, the member's right on part.
Order, please.
The member's quite accurate on part of his preamble. The NDP did abuse those rules. They did announce the Stars helicopter the week before the election. They did announce construction of Investors Field a couple of weeks before the election. They abused it. There was a birthing center thing. Yeah, lots of that abuse happened. It won't happen with this government. So good for him for raising that memory.
Order.
However, Madam Speaker, I have a memory of things in politics too, and I remember Pearson. And I remember John Chrétien, I remember Paul Martin, and I remember them calling elections. A lot of them called elections. One of them came here and threw a sandbag right in the middle of a flood in '97 and then went and called an election. So I know the liberal history.
Order.
Yeah.
Order.
No, actually, he didn't throw it on the sandbag pile. He just threw it down on the ground, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker.
Order. Order.
I want to give the member comfort. I want to give the member comfort genuinely. We won't abuse the announcement rules. We won't give any election in this province a chance to happen without a heads up to him and his friend in the NDP. How's that?